Hello everybody, this is Speaker Freak 95, and today I'm going down Nostalgia Lane. Went to the recycling center, picked up lots of nifty little speakers. Here's a preview of them. And I got two beefy Sonys. And this TV you see here, I'm about to power it up. I went ahead and opened it up because the screws are extremely rusty, because it's been outside for quite some time, but the inside is mint. There's not a speck of rust on the inside, on the heat sinks, the speaker, the coil, anything. The screws used to look pretty rusty. I took a wire brush to them, and this TV has quite a story behind it. Well, this model. I had a TV like this, well, exactly like this. Mine was from 1983. This one's from 1980, and this particular unit I found at the junkyard, if I didn't already mention that. My very first vintage item, or older item, I picked it up for $1 at a company sale. They were selling off their old items, and picked it up for $1, plugged it in. It had a car adapter to it, and picked it up for, $1. And it was the first vintage TV I've ever owned. It's a 9-inch black and white picture tube. And I watched that thing before I actually got my color TV. Now this TV is quite stylish. I mean, it's a little muddy on top, but there's no water that got inside. The tuners are working okay. And eventually, the 1983 RCA black and white TV died on me, so we had to throw it away. I did pull the speaker out of it, which was a 25 ohm 1.5 watt 2x6 inch oval speaker, real wide, odd looking thing. Actually, it's exactly like this. I don't know how easy it is to tell if you look, but it engulfs the whole entire thing. So I'm gonna turn this bad boy on. I haven't fired it up yet. Crank up the brightness, volume about halfway, fire up the Variac, and now we're gonna do a little test. My last one had old-fashioned can electrolytics in it. This one does too. The chassis went through several different changes over the years. This one, instead of having a normal flyback transformer like you'd see in one of those, or a newer consumer style unit, this one has the old-fashioned, what looks like to be out of an old tube type TV, old donut ring type transformer. I'll open this bad boy up in a little bit so y'all can see inside. My last one also had a bad speaker, and it's the first time I've ever seen a speaker shaped like that, so it killed me. My OCD ate me up. I just wanted to always figure out what was wrong with the speaker. Long story short, this TV the last TV must have been cranked up so loud that the voice coil overheated, and the internal former bubbled up and became blistered. No longer worked correctly. This one, in fact, I'm pretty sure is okay. It doesn't rub. Sorry for the sniffling, I'm sick today, but just fire this bad boy up nice and slowly so we can properly reform the electrolytics. When we get to about 60 volts, we should be getting something on the tube. I'm going nice and smoothly, going very slow. I hear high voltage. That's always a good sign. Finally glad that I'm actually able to get a properly working version. I think this is properly working. Oh, got something. This is a transistorized unit. It's firing up like it's a tube type, but it's not. Oh, we've got audio. The speaker doesn't seem to sound raspy. This is 80 volts AC. I'm gonna go up to 90. 110 and 119. So wow, if you look closely, it looks kind of green on the picture of the camera, but that is very sharp. But yeah, I'm glad it works. This is what it looks like. I remember that what intrigued me most about these TVs is these TVs created an odor. I don't know what it was, but they created some type of odor. It smelled like ozone almost. This one, let me see. I can't smell worth a crap today, so I have no idea, but I think I smelled something like that. Let's turn it off. I love the way these turn off. That's amazing. Got a little bit of static on the tube. That's not very common on small ones. Like, I've never really gotten a lot of static on the tube like that. But let's take a look on the inside. And let's see how this bad boy looks on the inside. Nice and clean, I do know that. Here's something you don't see very often anymore, is the brand name on the plug. My last one from 1983 did not have this. It just had an L on it. There's the plug. A little starchy. Could see some replacement in the next few years, but this actually particular unit would be sitting here. I'm going to take this, what I like to call the heater TV. This thing produces so much heat. It's so big. I need a little bit more room on my shop table. So, and I like to watch TV while I work on stuff. Yeah, that's not a real good combination, but I do like to watch TV down here sometimes. And this TV will do good. It'll be a shop TV. So let's take this thing up, or open. It's got the original antenna too, by the way. So, here we go. If you look, there was some rust. But I noticed that these backs come off very oddly. Nice wood grain. Gotta be careful not to rip things out, but the tuner, let me pause the camera. Before we show the interesting bit, there's the tuner board. Everything's nice and clean on that part of the side of the world here. There's a diode on the high voltage. There's a parts servicing guide. That's all different test points you can find out if there's something not right. Seems that the plastic was made by Trio Industries. That's something you don't see anymore. I'll be re-gluing these stickers back down. This is very sketchy right here. There's a big fat diode right there. Look at this high voltage transformer. That's some big mama right there. You don't see those very often anymore, especially in consumer units. It's got the high quality Nichicon, what I like to call glue top, where they have the glue on the top of them. A lot of Pioneer stuff used that. There's that big Taiwanese, everything's made in Taiwan on this one. The 1983 one was made in Taiwan, but a lot of things said China on it. This is when they started. You know, switching over to cheaper stuff. This is right before they hit dead end and made stuff very cheaply. And this is rather high quality. There's a big fat filter cap in the power supply. I do have the original plug. Let me find it. It's lucky to have that too. This was included with it. Try to figure that one out. There's two potentiometers there. Here's the electron gun, old style. Here's the RCA electron tube, and there's the high voltage. Or there's no cup. What is that high voltage cup? Excuse me. I've got a cold. There's the speaker. I remembered correctly. It is a 25 ohm. 1.5 watt speaker. There's a capacitor on there too. But that's the inside of the unit. All the capacitor date codes are 1980. See, for example, 8007. But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff in here that you don't see anymore. I'll be re-gluing these stickers so they don't fall and catch fire or anything like that, because I've had that happen too. They land on a heat sink or something like that, and you know, these heat sinks get rather hot sometimes, and it can catch fire or start smoking or burn the sticker beyond readability. It uses Nichicon capacitors and Nippon Chemicon caps, which are Japanese made. That's probably why they're still good. See the board. I'm actually using the camera right now to look at these feet on the heat sinks, make sure they're not too bad. This big 10-watt resistor. And this thing consumes about 45 watts of power on household electricity. That's a lot of power for one of these little portable TVs. And yeah, this is pretty interesting. I'm liking this little thing. It's got the original fuse. It's got the zigzag element. Board's a little, maybe a tad bit warped. The last one was wavy. There were several foil traces broken. I fixed that, and that's how I got it working. But the speaker was bad in that one. That's what killed me over it. But there's actually only tabs holding in that speaker. Well, there's a bolt right there. That's a big speaker. But now it's, I think it's time to take a look inside. Or, we're already looking inside. What am I thinking? Take a look at its performance hooked up to cable. I taped the stickers. I used medical tape. That's the only thing I had in the shop. Just put a little bit on each sticker, except for that one, to make sure they don't come apart, because I don't want to take the risk of this thing burning up on me, But I also forgot to make a short announcement. These TVs came in 3 finishes: solid black, wood grain like this one, and solid white. And if anybody happens to find any of these models or have one and you don't want it anymore, let me know, because I'd like to have more than one of these TVs because they perform so well. At least I think so. If anybody has this model TV, then you want to sell it to me, send me a personal message eventually if you find this video and you're like, hey, maybe I have one of those. I'd love to buy it for you. And I won't lowball you either, because these TVs are nostalgic for me, and I'll pay a decent price for them, but not too much. Nothing, maybe over $30 for each one, because they're not really worth that much. But there we go. Now I'm gonna take some plastic polish to this after we're done, and make it shine. Plug it up to the cable and see what it looks like. Focus.
Or whatever, and so I started putting it on.
This thing absolutely rocks. You can read the individual small letters and everything.
To pay.
The contacts can stand to be cleaned.
Is because they believe they.
There's a little bit of noise in some of the picture.
2,000 realtors.
Most of the channels are nice and clean.
Get busy as offices empty out for the holiday weekend, and the gas prices ease a little too.
Wow, this is somewhat amazing.
I'm Rob Johnson. We want to start out, get a check on your holiday forecast. So many people have already begun their journeys to the 3-day weekend. How's it going to look?
Scorching, very hot outside. In fact, Rob,
good audio.
The hottest air we've had in about 8 months across the tri-states. So we have to go all the way back to September to see temperatures this hot. In fact, looking at your first forecast, 88 by 1 o'clock, 90 at 4. Now, officially, Huntington, Charleston, we have not hit 90 degrees. I think we will do that today, upper 80s by 7 o'clock. And most of the area won't have a thunderstorm, but I think Ohio, northern parts of West Virginia, there's a slight risk for a
I got the other part of that sticker. I'm going to go ahead and tape the other part back to it. But
83 at this midday hour.
There's no bad connections anywhere.
Sunshine, hardly a cloud in the sky. A high UV or sunburn index, so lather on that sunscreen if you're going to be outside.
The view. Go to Visit Myrtle Beach.
And yet, if you get cancer, there's nothing.
Now, in a very fitting tribute, Tony Caridi, the voice of the Mountaineers,
That's somewhat too sharp.
will be delivering
Gotta fix that.
eulogy this afternoon. Then they'll head to New Martinsville.
It's showing a little bit of signs of age. Could stand a decent tune-up. Oh my gosh, it's too bright. That's the contrast. I'm just feeling around on the back, kind of. I don't want to turn the brightness up way too high, because you can burn your tube out a little bit quicker. That fixes some of the things. A little dirty picture. Oh. Oh gosh. Oh wait, look at that. I love that. You can see, sometimes there's numbers up there. Oops, wrong direction. Oh, that's the tilt. Crap, now I have to find it on a station where it has lettering or something on it where, oh, there we go. This will work. Let's see. Center that up a little bit. Yeah, that'll do. Not a bad TV at all.
A mirror, just pop it on. Him in New York when I was a baby.
Oh,
I was
sweet.
I was very young.
Okay, so you knew him before he was.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And I stood by him all that time, which is a very
I never have the brightness on full blast. To give the tube a little bit of a break, because you know it is rather old. Some of the components I looked a little bit more before filming this last part of the video. Some of the components are from 1978 and 1979, so it is quite old. Sorry for the color, or these little bars right here. This camera has an issue with that, but...
And, I mean, I've helped Maria numerous times. She's helped me numerous times.
It's a very smooth feeling control.
And that is how we became such good friends. I'm an only child. When this happened to my husband, I never dreamed that I would have this kind of life. And I was ostracized by any friends.
Dining room, bath.
Breakfast is the most sought-after perk.
Your clothes.
That fine-tuning comes in handy, too.
Let's take the pencil. Our surveillance units have observed a pickup truck with a white male suspect.
Got a good sound to it, too. Nice beefy audio.
Units are going to stop and we'll come in behind them.
He's not wearing a seatbelt either, so we're...
This actually has better sound than that one.
Let's go see what we got.
It rocks the whole thing. You can feel the vibration on that.
Where you were just at? Not just there. Where were you just at? I just drove through there. Want to step out of the car for a second? Step on out, sir.
Beaker, the coil, anything. The screws used to look pretty rusty. I took a wire brush to them. And this TV has quite a story behind it. Well, this model. I had a TV like this. Well, exactly like this. Mine was from 1983. This one's from 1980. And this particular unit I found at the junkyard, if I didn't already mention that. My very first vintage item, or older item. A little muddy on top, but there's no water that got inside. The tuners are working okay. And eventually, the 1983 RCA black and white TV died on me, so we had to throw it away. I did pull the speaker out of it, which was a 25 ohm 1.5 watt 2x6 inch oval speaker, real wide, odd looking thing. Actually, it's exactly like this. I don't know how easy it is to tell if you look, but it engulfs the whole entire thing. I picked it up for $1 at a company sale. They're selling off their old items, and picked it up for $1, plugged it in. It had a car adapter to it, and I picked it up for, you know, $1. And it was the first vintage TV I've ever owned. It's a 9-inch black and white picture tube, and I watched that thing before I actually got my color TV. Now this TV is quite stylish. I mean, it's a little... Hello everybody, this is Speaker Freak 95, and today I'm going down nostalgia lane. Went to the recycling center, picked up lots of nifty little speakers. Here's a preview of them. And I got 2 beefy Sonys. And this TV you see here, I'm about to power it up. I went ahead and opened it up because the screws are extremely rusty, because it's been outside for quite some time, but the inside is mint. There's not a speck of rust on the inside on the heat sinks, the thing. So, I'm going to turn this bad boy on. I haven't fired it up yet. Crank up the brightness, volume about halfway, fire up the Variac, and now we're going to do a little test. My last one had old-fashioned can electrolytics in it. This one does too. The chassis went through several different changes over the years. This one, instead of having a normal flyback transformer like you'd see in one of those, or a newer